To day number 2 here at CWL Anaheim 2017, presented by PS4. I am Dirk, joined alongside Landon, and we have a pretty good matchup coming for you guys. A lot on the line here. The winner of this match between eRa and Allegiance will find their spot in pool play.
Oh, yeah, and of course we know as far as CWL Anaheim, I mean, this has been a very tasking open bracket to say the least, so I'm sure both these teams are very excited. But also there's a lot of pressure coming on because if you win this, you're good to go, you're in pools. But if not, it's not like all your progress was for nothing. It's just, a massive decline, I guess you could say, as far as how you're feeling.
It's a different path that you go on. There's going to be a longer, more tougher path there going down as well. I mean, a lot on the line here, like we just said. I think the biggest thing, too, is you have the eRa. I call this sort of like the eRa B team. It's called eRa Gaming in a sense. I mean, you have the first team with Fastball and Profizi, and those guys struggling a lot in here. I believe they are actually down in the losers in that open bracket side as well. So, I mean, they have a lot to prove here because as soon as that second team gets picked up, everybody's initial thought is like, this is the better team. What are these guys going to do? But anyway, here's going to be the maps here for this best of 5 to see who does go through to get that pool play spot. Map number 1 is going to be Breakout Hardpoint. Map number 2, it's going to be a Throwback Search and Destroy. And then game number 3 will be Precinct Uplink. And if we need to go the distance for map 4 and 5, it's going to be a Scorch Hardpoint as well as a Crusher SMD.
Indeed it will. Of course, players loading in. We should be just about good to start things off. Breakout Hardpoint, personally one of my favorite hardpoints to watch. Pretty consistent throughout. You got to making sure all players are good to go throughout the entire thing. Not really a specific hill to kind of point out, maybe except for the second hill, actually, cell block. But either way, it should be a pretty consistent game. Both these squads, very, very talented, even though you might not know a whole lot of the names throughout the match. I'll definitely be kind of breaking things down and letting you guys know a little bit of the backgrounds as far as which players we're looking at. I believe we actually have one player playing under a different gamer tag. We'll obviously get that sorted. So that's actually going to be Believe, for those who don't know.
Yeah, so no roster change coming here. General is not on the side of Allegiance, so don't get that twisted. That is Believe, but just playing under a different name here. But we are underway. Map 1 is in full swing. First Blood going to be going to the side of Allegiance. Going to be Mayhem. Picks up another 2-piece inside of that shower area as well. Holler has himself positioned up in top laundry, trying to get something happening with that MV4 in hand. But immediately that's going to be 3 dead for the side of eRa. And now you see finally somebody jumps into the hill. It's still only 30 seconds, so it could have just completely had 30 seconds, maybe a full 60 going in favor of ALG, but they decide to just slay out around the hill. Now they finally get inside, but it looks like they're getting these early rotations in to get set up for cell block.
Now, you're going to see eRa kind of playing a little bit odd at this point. You're kind of seeing them not really contest the hill. Why are they trying to do that? There's a lot of strategy going on. And the reason why there's a whole lot of strategy going on is that a lot of these guys have played with each other before. I mean, Holler and Beezy have played together in the past. Beezy's played with Spoots back on Lethal back in the day. This entire Allegiance roster was previously under STDX. Like, there's been a number of different combinations of these guys who have played together, so they know their styles. They know exactly what to expect coming into this match. And in some cases, it's kind of like a permanent scrim where you see in the AM scene where a lot of players kind of switch things up. And thankfully, these players have found each other here. A lot of rivalries. You want to kind of beat your old teammates in some cases and prove that you are and have improved more than they have. So with that, definitely be looking for a lot of strategies, maybe even a lot of smack talk to potentially be coming out in this matchup. But as we load in here toward cell block, the rotation is in an eRa currently with control right now.
They definitely are. Like you said, there's so much here to prove, but the 3-man hit destroyed the setup from the back, and now it's going to be control of this hill in favor of Allegiance. You see the MV4 inside the hill. This is where they're going to get the most kills and basically make the most impact on this hill, is watching that wall run side. Now Nova's going to be the final player to just pick up all this time. You see the rotations coming in early from the side of eRa, trying to get this graveyard hill locked down. No big lead at all necessarily, and now we're looking over to the bottom of the map. You see Spooth coming around on the flank, so look for a pinch here to come from the side of ALG.
Indeed it is, and Holler not really having the best start you could ask for, currently sitting at 0-4. And if I know anything about Holler, I've actually been commentating over him for quite a bit of time, actually even since the beginning of Advanced Warfare, and he's always been kind of a guy who I've really looked up to as far as like a young kind of amateur player now, kind of obviously proving himself to be a top semi-pro in the Call of Duty scene, but obviously not having the greatest of games at the moment. He is a very talented AR and is going to constantly have the MV4 and K-Bar combination, so once he starts to go up, that's when I feel like we're going to see eRa have quite a bit of success, but a 1-5 start, a 1-4, one for Beezy, who is an incredibly talented slayer in his own regard as he's starting to kind of light things up. I think once eRa can kind of get those guys going, whether hopefully it's soon, I think that's when we can start to see them rebound.
We definitely can. Holler's going to now be the lone player inside of the hill. He's going to be joined by Bound there, sitting over by Bulldozer. You're going to see the 3-man hit. It looks like player 3, which is going to be Mayhem, running through that middle of the map. Might try to get something going down here, but the push is going to come in, and it is going to be halted by the side of eRa. But for now, Spoof jumps in. They're going to be able to clean up those kills, and the rest of the time in Graveyard is going to be going towards the side of ALG. Rotations are coming in, and it looks like they have a pretty good setup for this one, but so far from what we've seen from ALG, they're constantly doing 3-man hits to try to take out those anchors, and you see the arrows right there, 4, 3, and 2, pushing directly back in that helipad to get control.
Yeah, and point number 2 is definitely going to be a little bit of a problem. A little bit of an awkward spot there in some cases, but eRa has made the rotation yet again, and thankfully due to the fact that they've been rotating early, they've been at least getting a few seconds here and there, and it looks like they might actually even get close to tying this game up. A little bit of a pinch coming in from the side of ALG, and they are going to break the hard point, at least for right now. Allegiance starting to pile on a few more points. The side of eRa is now going to be left on the back foot to try and retake this.
And the Scarab is going to try to come in just to try to spot check, see what these players are. He's going to spot Bound over in that back helipad side. The nice kill trade coming in there. Spoof does take out Stamino. One more player to worry about by security, and he does fall as well. So excellent hold coming from the side of ALG as they start to pull away just a little bit in this one. But still lots of game time left to try to make something happen for that comeback for eRa to come into play here. 8 seconds left at Commissary before we begin the fresh set of rotations over in Top Hut.
And you see a General, a.k.a. Believe, actually doing pretty well up to this point. Currently on his 7th spree, doing a fantastic job right now for his squad. Currently sitting at 11-4, but just below him is actually Spoof, who's sitting at 10-4. And now one thing to be kind of looking out throughout this match is that I know I've talked about players being our previous teammates and somewhat, excuse me, but actually 2 players to be looking at are Spoof from Allegiance and BZ from eRa. These guys actually used the team under Lethal Gaming toward the end of Black Ops 3 and also toward the start of Infinite Warfare, played alongside of both Juju and Hate for a time. And I think Mayhem was actually one who ended up filling in later for that roster. But there was actually a major reason when BZ ended up leaving, because he was the most talented Slayer for this roster, and it was always believed that Spoof was kind of the factor who kind of didn't really progress them any further. So it's obviously been interesting to see how these players, you know, in different ways have kind of progressed themselves. And BZ obviously having not the greatest of games, but it seems that over time, Spoof has really been improving. I've seen him at a number of different MLG events so far and throughout the Infinite Warfare season where he's absolutely started to go off, and you can obviously see he's continuing that performance here.
And Holler, I don't know, just from kind of looking at him, he's setting at 1-13, he has that MV4, but he's finding himself in positions where you usually set your eRa or your K-Bar player. He's sitting inside of that shower area majority of the time with the MV4. It's not going to work out. You're going to lose every single engagement from that close. You need to play your range like where he is at now, but it's too late to do that. I mean, the hill's already rotated over to cell block, and first players there are going to be from the side of Allegiance. He spots one, so now he finally takes out, I believe that is going to be Believe. And just like we said, just to keep you guys in the loop, General is actually Believe, just under a different name just for this one. So Holler pushing towards the back garage. He's going to be taken out as well. But so far, really what it's just been, there's been no sort of a real strategy, right? It's just been Allegiance outslaying, and you can just kind of thank Holler and BZ for not having the greatest performances so far.
And these are the 2 guys who I was expecting to probably go off for this roster, and that's very surprising to see Holler currently sitting at 2-14. I mean, at this point, if you're the guys in eRa, it's just like, Holler, just get some confidence kills, man. You got to get something going because we're down by well over 70 seconds, and it's starting to grow even more as they're going to have to nail down a rotation. But when you got someone going 2-14 and BZ, who's currently going double negative, which I don't think I've ever seen out of BZ unless he's playing maybe like an Opti Gaming or something like that. I mean, there's just something that's not working out for them, and I hope that they can rebound when it comes into the search and destroy, because this is looking to end pretty quick if Allegiance has any way with it.
Stamino and crew are going to be inside. 2 of the players are going to be positioned over by middle map, and you're seeing the strategic pushes coming in from Allegiance. Either a 3 hit or they try to go for a pinch here on this cave side as well. Now Bound and BZ are going to pick up kills, and then now it's going to be a clean force sweep of the players from Allegiance. So now they're going to get a very good hold on this. They have the read on the spawns of where the players from Allegiance are going to be coming. Look for them to try to claw back into this one. The 30 seconds should be going to them unless Allegiance can try to get a quick break here. The Scarab is going to be going out as the leading charge. He's going to be able to find Mayhem there. But now you're starting to see eRa come to life as the kill feed is just lining up, and Holler is starting to pick it up. The guy who started off 1-11 is now 7-14 on a 5-kill streak.
Yeah, nice job there from Holler to definitely kind of pick things up. Now, what his goal is to do is to try to go and back up actually toward this back helipad, because this is exactly the issue that they had last time, was not holding down that back helipad control for this next hill. And of course, those spawns are going to play very, very important. He ends up getting dropped 2 fall in that particular case, and here come a few of the streaks. That's going to end potentially that rotation pretty quick, but it looks like a few eRa players just trying to stay up for as long as possible. But it's actually going to be Believe coming from above, ending that one pretty quick. So what seemed like a good hold from eRa has been a rotation 1 there for the side of ALG.
You see right now, Allegiance has everything they want. They have that set up. They're forcing the players to try to push in showers, but now you're going to see the play call for the players from eRa to start pushing through the middle map. The opening break is going to come in from Holler. He takes out Believe, but Mayhem is going to be able to get the kill trade there. Now Spoof and Mayhem trying to work side by side to get the break on this one, but it is going to be Allegiance coming out on top in that gunfights, and just like that, they have surpassed the 200-point mark with 20 seconds left here on Commissary. They're going to get the rest of this time, but if you're on the side of eRa, this is where you start panicking. You do not want to give them that much time when they've been dominating this first hill throughout the entirety of the game.
Yeah, and you really got to kind of question in some cases how close they would be had, you said Holler and Beasley had better starts. I mean, Beasley still hasn't really improved too much. I mean, currently sitting at -4, Holler sitting at -7. Only player who's actually at least semi-positive is going to be Bound, who's just sitting even at 15 and 15 right now. So, I mean, with that, you can't really expect too much out of the side from eRa, but maybe just a slow start.
See, it's going to come down to this. They could win off this hill. Allegiance, they could. But the question is, are they going to? Stamino is going to be able to get a nice break there, picking up the 2-piece on the bottom, but it's not going to do much. Now his teammates are in position. That's where you need Holler to really go off with the MV4. He's in that power position. Now they need to make sure to not get too aggressive and to try to overextend. That's where you see player 8, Stamino. He's going to be in the back blocking off those spawns, but Spoof is trying to come around for the pinch. This is going to be crucial to break this up if he takes out that player who's going to be positioned up in top laundry, has the active camo, gets away with his life, and with 20 seconds, it looks like he's focusing on getting the spawns for his team, but this is going to be a huge gunfight going down right here. The Flechette come in, and it's going to be Stamino coming out on top of that one.
Yeah, big win there from Stamino. Of course, previous player for, I believe, Extrovert back in Infinite Warfare a few months ago. Actually played alongside guys like Invader as well. So this has been a guy who I've been actually watching quite a bit throughout online scrims and just kind of hearing his name be brought up through the competitive scene. And he's obviously showing why his name deserves to be brought up in those conversations. Cell block, in some cases, what could be considered the money hill for this particular hardpoint. And eRa is going to be in control of this one. They are going to need really just about a full hold if they want to at least try and bring this one back, but ALG starting to rush forward. Stamino still toward the back, currently sitting on a 2 spree. That one will end pretty quick as it looks like ALG might have taken this one over. Player number 7, Bound, has got to get in here fast before Allegiance gets that remaining 30 seconds. Kills starting to happen. Now BZ realizing that he has got to get forward, but he has no teammate support. He has nobody with him. Looks like a few team kills coming in there, unfortunately, if you are the side of eRa, but ALG getting closer and closer. eRa starting to feel the pressure as they've got to get in here quick, Dirk, because this one is looking to be out of hand already.
Yep, final 10 seconds are going to be coming around the corner. Now this is the point where you just need to flood. Stamino burns that FTL. He's going to use it to go into lower wall run, and all you need to do right now is contest if you're on the side of eRa, but Stamino goes in, gets a nice 2-piece. The remaining scrap time is going to be going to them, but all that the side of Allegiance needs is just that final 10 seconds here, and it's so hard to break this hill as well. Mayhem's going to do his job, slaying out inside of that medical bay. There's going to be another 3 players pushing him. They're going to be able to pick up that one, and the camo is going to come into, no, the reactive armor, I apologize, is going to come into play, and just like that, 250 to 165 is going to be the final score. Allegiant taking map 1.
I gotta say, I'm not necessarily surprised that we've seen Allegiance victory, but by that margin, I would not expect that by any means. I mean, like I said, we ended up seeing a pretty slow start from both Holler and BZ in some cases, so I would consider those guys to be major slayers, when it comes down to the opposition side. So, I don't know, maybe it's just a slow start for eRa, but I mean, if you're Allegiance, you got to be feeling confident. And at least I've seen some Twitter videos of Spoof so far at this tournament. He's getting hype. I know he's letting BZ know that, hey, maybe you shouldn't have left my team. I'm pretty good, man. I'm pretty good. Pretty
it would have
talented.
been, I think 100%, if we saw the slaying from Holler and BZ coming into that one, it would have been a completely different game. I mean, it was close as it was. I mean, it wasn't a complete blowout. But if you just had them picking up those little extra kills, I mean, like you said, we saw BZ very, very slow starting to pick it up. Holler improved greatly. Like we said, he started off the game 1-11. He was able to pick it up there as well. So what you guys are going to see on your screen now is the maps that we're going to be playing in this best of 5. We just saw Breakout Hardpoint, which was won by Allegiance, 250 to 165. I mean, it's all credit towards Allegiance as well. They were able to make Holler just pay for, what do you want to call it, getting himself into those bad positions with that MV4. I mean, if we go back and look at that, a majority of his deaths to start off that game came from when he was in loading as well as in showers. You can't be doing that if you're the MV4 player. You need to be either in top hut or you need to be playing up in security or in laundry as well. You can't just go in there and slay with him. It's not going to happen when the team has K-bars and E-Reds.
And well, we do have to give credit to, have to do kind of point out the guys from eRa having a little bit of issues. I mean, the reason for those issues was the guys on Allegiance. I mean, I think it was Believe who ends up going 28 and 15 in that first map. I mean, nearly double positive in some cases. So, I mean, while we also have to give credit and say, you know what, I mean, we have to kind of point out the guys on eRa and say, you know what, you guys struggled, but there was a reason for those struggles, and that was due to the fact of the just immediate slaying out from the side of Allegiance. And like we said, a lot of guys have played in the past. I mean, this Allegiance roster has been under STDX as well, so there's a lot of constant chemistry, communication that's definitely going into a lot of these matches, and I'm curious to see how that works out when it comes into this next Search and Destroy.
Throwback Search and Destroy, like we said, these are teams that come for the open bracket. We don't see much of them unless we're really watching them at home, watching the scrims as well. Players who we'd say classify them as like semi-pros in a sense. They're guys who have been around, especially last year as well. BZ is a player who kind of gets highlighted for me on Lethal.
Oh, absolutely.
Who kind of made a name for himself with the whole ban and protect and everything that Lethal game used to do to throw that kind of the cog into the machine there to shut it down.
Yeah,
but
man, Juju, I don't know, man. I mean, he had some interesting strategies. I mean, it kind of worked out, I guess.
It worked out very well. Every time you can, let's ban out quick draw or stock or something like that. But anyway, in this one, Search and Destroy is such a toss-up between these two teams as well. We know a lot of the teams that started from the amateur level and started to rise up, they all started in Search and Destroy in some way, shape, or form, whether it's playing tournaments, anything like that, just playing ladder matches as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one does play. Judging from that first game, it looked like Allegiance was the more aggressive team, and Throwback, we know that can benefit you greatly with that middle map control and sending those players out for that initial push. I don't think we're going to see a slow Search and Destroy. I think this is going to be sort of like a run and gun, not really slow pace. Those players sending 2 up mid-map with eRads or K-bars, whatever you do choose. And it's going to be interesting to see the Sniper too. I believe I've seen BZ pull it out last year. I'm not sure as much this year. Like we said, sniping isn't the greatest in this. Not many people like to go to the snipers and like to the formal, the Claysters, Arcides, or something like that as well. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the Search and Destroy plays out.
Yeah, for sure. And like we said, since a lot of these guys have teamed in the past, you got to imagine they probably have some similar strategies. So maybe we might see in the first few rounds maybe some slower gameplay, then see kind of things elevate, or maybe we see pretty aggressive plays at the start, then we see players kind of start to digress. But I expect to see a pretty consistent Search and Destroy when it comes into this map number 2. Like I said, due to teaming in the past, I mean, like I said, these guys, I think every combination of this roster has in some cases been on a team in some cases. So, I mean, with that, you got to expect a lot of previous knowledge, maybe even some plays where someone kind of hangs back and we're curious as to why he's hanging back, and just he knows that the opposition player likes to push this angle or vice versa. So
yeah, it's just, I think one of the biggest things after that, it just kind of set the tone, is just going to be how is BZ and Holler going to play. Because you cannot have them starting slow, especially in a Search and Destroy.
Oh, no, not at all.
With a map like this where A is the heavily hit site, you're going to need Holler to be on point with that MV4. That's going to be one of my biggest highlights for that, is how is that battle going to go down? Is there going to be a sniper brought up from either side to try to shut down the MV4 players who are going to be playing in the Lemon or on that Diner side as well? And then as well as BZ, we need to see him step it up. These guys, this is for a pull play spot. I don't know if they know it, but everybody needs to be playing at that consistent level. You can't have anybody slacking. Everything needs to be clicking on all cylinders.
And I've never been good enough to play Call of Duty or even get in the open bracket, but I'd imagine if you're getting to this point in the open bracket, I mean, you're literally at the point where there's one match and you're in pools, that you do not want to have a slow performance when it comes down to that. So map number 2, loading up. Allegiance taking map number 1, eRa. You need to fire back before things start to get out of hand. We're going to look through the eyes of Holler off the start, the man who definitely needs to show up for the side of eRa. Him and BZ having slow performances in that map number 1. We'll see how things start to turn around for them.
We're seeing the middle pushes come in now. 3 players going to be positioned there. That's 1, 2, and 3. Number 4 is going to be playing in the back. That's going to be Nova. Now you see in the push coming from Mayhem. He's going to be able to spot one. The sniper was in the hands of BZ, and he's going to be able to pick up a 2-piece there. So just like that, 3 players fall for the side of eRa. Now Stamino going to be left last alive. And just like that, a quick, clean sweep from the side of Allegiance.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, I know we always talk about constantly how these players know a general idea as to where they're going to be most of the time, but you see Nova at the very end, cleaning things up with the EMC. Not normally going to see too many kills with that particular weapon, but either way, he's able to pistol whip and give us a nice little final kill cam there. So with that, Allegiance taking round number 1, and Nova going to be having that longbow out. We'll see what he can potentially try and do with that. Going to be making his way over toward that bike street to try and find that first peak. Looking on top, Lemon spots one player but can't find it. As BZ currently sitting up top, looking through middle map. That should be the first blood granted toward him, and it's exactly what's going to happen. 3 go down immediately. Now Believe wondering what just happened to my teammates. All 4 dropping a great responding round there for the side of eRa.
We saw the aggressiveness coming from this side from the time of eRa. BZ is going to be the player there in your final kill. Something to bring up too, Nova is actually using an attachment on that pistol. He's using the particle lamp, which is something you don't really see if people have a pistol. They decide to load up their attachments onto their sniper to make that better, as well as put it on the perks too. But now he's going to be using that pistol with the particle lamp, and it's going to increase the damage by quite a bit as well. So that's just something to keep in mind when he gets into those close range engagements. On board with Nova once more to start off this one, see if he can get anything going here with the sniper. He's going to be able to spot one player jumping over Lemon. That is going to be BZ. He's not going to be able to connect, but Mayhem is going to be there to draw that first blood in middle map.
A good aggressiveness there out of Mayhem. Of course, NV4 in hand. Not going to see players get too aggressive when it comes down to that weapon, but of course, he's feeling pretty confident. He wants to rush again. He's going to spot 2 players toward that back hay side. Fortunately for him, he will drop, but he's going to obviously give that communication over toward his teammates. I believe that Spoof getting the bomb down there for the side of ALG. It's now left up to eRa to try to get this 3 versus 2 retake. Now making it a 2 versus 2. BZ is going to be there to shut down Nova. Spoof, after getting that bomb down, is now going to be left in a position to clutch. Finds one. Previous teammates now in a 1 versus 1. Spoof versus BZ. It's a lethal reunion. We'll see you can obviously walk away with this one. Lethal tries to back around, but no, BZ is going to be there for the clutch kill. He's going to salute him and say, "What's up, pal? Nice to see you again." But here comes the defuse as eRa going to get another round on the board.
And BZ off to a hot start there, sitting at 4-1 on a 2-kill spree as well. Has that Scarab, and he's now going to be 225 off that Trinity Rock, and I believe he's making very good progress towards that Centurion as well as we head into round number 4. Nice little 1v1 action there. And if you guys are just now tuning in, this is a match to see which team from the open bracket does make it into pool play. We currently have eRa Gaming going up against Allegiance. Right now, 1-0 series lead in favor of Allegiance. Not looking too hot in the Search and Destroy, but it's still early. They're only down by 1 round as well, but the big gunfight's going down straight through mid. Believe takes out Stamino, and Bound takes out Believe, and Holler picks up a kill of his own as well. So now man advantage going in favor of eRa. Now Nova is going to be left last alive in a 1 versus 3.
This is not going to be an easy spot for Nova to be in, but we've obviously seen him do some damage with that sniper rifle early on the MV4. Definitely kind of act as a long-range weapon, of course. Fortunately, take some fall damage from that, and he should be taken out there. Yes, he will. So back-to-back rounds there for the side of eRa. Pretty solid overall, and I think ever since we've seen BZ, and obviously you can see Holler here, the guys who struggled in that first map start to pick things up. That's when eRa starts to see success. So I think if we can start to see them have better performances, getting those final kills, and even see BZ constantly getting involved in that kill feed, that's when we start to see the eRa. That's when we start to see the guys on eRa that we expect to turn up do, and that's when they start to see success.
On the offensive is going to be Allegiance now. Let's see if they can turn things around. Spoof is going to be your bomb carrier, currently sitting at 1-4, 1 plant to his name. Going to see a 4-man split, 2 going over towards his left side, 1 looking at the underpass, and then 1 over by blue. That is going to be Believe. The flechette grenade is going to go towards that middle map, but so far they're not going to be able to get anything. You see the arrows from the side of eRa just slowly starting to back up, going to that back barn area. Currently 3 of them stacked. Can see through the x-rays, see where the players' positionings are through those walls as well. But now gunfights are going to be going down on that A site, and the first blood is going to go to Nova, but he's immediately traded out. Now Mayhem takes out the Scarab there. There's going to be a couple players pushing him from behind too. You see everybody kind of split across the map. The 2 over here by A for the side of eRa. Let's see how they're going to play this one. Did he spot Holler?
I don't think he does, because he's just right behind that picket fence, and that's actually going to see his teammate drop just right there. Mayhem thinks he's actually still behind this fence, but little does he know he's actually down in the corner by the stairs. Can he spot him is the question to be asking right now. Stamino doing everything he can to try and stay alive, waiting for some teammate support, and Mayhem, you just need to get inside a bowling, my friend. Spoof was actually able to sneak through mid-map during a few of those engagements and is actually able to find at least 1 kill. As Mayhem falls, it's now going to be left all up to Spoof in a 1 versus 2 situation. And BZ drops. Not a whole lot of time for Spoof. You're actually going to see him find a kill and immediately try to switch over to the opposite side. He has no idea that the other player is going to be there. And eRa yet again win another round. I like that play from Spoof to try and find that kill and immediately go over to the opposite side to make the to try and bait Stamino over, most likely. But just overall good communication there from Stamino to kind of separate themselves throughout the map. And eRa continuing in this search and destroy now at 4-1.
And that bridge is such a good spot to be in Search and Destroy. You're going to have views of the middle map as well as the left and right side through green and ticket. So nice little play there, winning that 1 versus 1. Now it's currently 4-1 in favor of eRa. Now they are on the attacking side. It looks like we're going to be seeing a B hit here. All 3 players going to be over towards that A site while 1 is sitting through that mid-tunnel, and Mayhem might have spotted the cross, but I don't believe he did. You see some players making some noise over towards that A site to take the aggro over, but now you're going to see 3 arrows from the side of Allegiance start to push towards his back barn area.
They do. The rush comes in. We'll see how ALG tries to retake this one, especially with the man count advantage. Now 2-man count advantage as BZ and Bound are going to be left all by themselves. Of course, Bomb is down, some time to work with. Nice kill coming in there from Bound through Silo. Tosses a nade out. Trying to work on that wall run. Tries to find another one, but no. BZ is now going to be left all by himself. 1 versus 3, and he's all alone inside of blue. If you can try to pick these players off 1 by 1, this could actually work out very well for him. As he's maybe going to find another, but no, it's not going to happen. Allegiance will be there yet again for the defuse. And one thing that I want to point out at the beginning of that round really quick, Dirk, was that Holler was actually sitting in that top train area. And I feel like the angle that he was watching wasn't really great for his team because they make an offside hit. Had he been watching Underpass to call that one out, they definitely could have got the bomb down a little bit quicker. And had he found that kill, he could have at least traded to make it a 3 versus 3. So, in my opinion, whenever they do make an offside hit like that where Holler's position is, he needs to make sure that he's watching a potential flank angle that could have definitely granted his team the round. So.
See Allegiance get another round on the board there. BZ found himself in a very, very sticky situation there where the bomb was planted for him, but they still had 2 players alive. So now it's going to be Allegiance going on the offensive. We're on board with Spoof. Getting right and down and dirty inside this middle map area. Is going to be joined by Mayhem as well in that middle map. 3 players going to be positioned on that backside of A. It's going to be 6, 5, and 7. And then you're going to have player number 8. That's going to be Stamino sitting right at A, but Holler is going to be able to draw first blood there. So a guy that we said started off very slow in that hard point, picking up here in Search and Destroy.
That's exactly what you want if you're an eRa fan. Spoof already dropping a player who was very influential when it came to the first hard point. Another kill there coming in from Holler. Nice jump up there with the NV4. 2 versus 4 is now ALG are going to be on the back foot. Mayhem spots one inside a barn, decides to go back up and regroup with his teammate. This is not going to be an easy round for them to clutch, but if so, they can definitely grant them a lot of momentum right now. Dirk, but Bound finds one. He'll find 2 as well, and that's going to be the side of eRa up 5 rounds to 2.
See, I like the idea there. It was sort of on the side of Allegiance. They just kind of said, hey, let's push over to Allegiance. It was just, hey, we have 2 guys. Let's try to play for those trades. They went around the backside trying to isolate the one player over by B because they saw him at Barn. But it was just Bound with the nice shots there. There's no other really way to put it. Winning that 1 versus 2 as well. They weren't successfully able to get that trade. So an excellent round played. Now just 1 round away from tying up this series. We're staying on board with Bound, the man who's hot off that 1 versus 2. See what he's going to do here. Bomb immediately going down, but you see the 3-man hit straight through middle from the side of Allegiance. It's going to be Spoof and Believe working back-to-back. Spoof does get taken out. First blood going towards eRa.
Indeed, looks like a lot of headshots going down in the kill feed at the moment. A few players starting to drop. Bound actually trying to hold the angle before I can even utter the words. eRa is going to close out this map number 2 in pretty dominant fashion. A complete turnaround from map number 1, but they do respond in a great way, as you're going to see Bound in the final kill cam picking up the final one. As now eRa respond back exactly the way that I think that they need to if they're going to try to win this next uplink.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, tied up 1-1 now. And like we said, there's a lot to play for here. This is for a spot in pool play. So if you do lose, you're heading down to that loser's bracket where things are going to get a little tough for you.
Yeah,
just to say the least. I mean, I think there was like an interesting statistic that there's teams that were in the relegation who there's only a couple still left in like the winners, but the rest are down in the losers already.
Yeah.
I know the eRa Eternity team is down there too, which is a team I thought was going to do very, very well this weekend, but it's something they've been struggling with. But guys, when we come back, we are going to have game number 3 between eRa and Allegiance. This is all on the line for a pool play spot. Don't go anywhere.
Saying stamina is not whatever y'all are saying. I don't know what stamina means. eRa Fuse, he said stamina, stam-ino, not whatever y'all are saying. He said stamina. Or 2 minutes. Dose. Is it 62? Is it 62? Jeff. Hello. Welcome back to the CWL Anaheim Open presented by the PlayStation 4. Brought to you by Dirk and London Lando Santa. I'm going to see you calling Jimmy Dirk Diaz Ruiz. Is it Jimmy Diaz Dirk Ruiz or is it Jimmy Dirk? Welcome back, everyone, to the CWL Anaheim Open presented by the PlayStation 4. Myself, Lando, as well as Dirk, bringing you guys the action. We're currently in the midst of an open bracket winners round 5 matchup between eRa as well as the side of Allegiance. Winner of this game is guaranteed a spot in pool play. And Dirk, we are level at 1-1. I'm not going to point this out already, but I think we potentially do have a Game 5 in our midst. Not just because of the typical caster Game 5 thing, but I actually think that these two teams match up very well when it comes down to uplink, which is actually going to be on Precinct. I've actually seen a few of these rosters play different combinations in the past on this map, and they seem to play pretty well. So I don't know about you, but I'm thinking that as time does go on, I obviously want to see how this uplink plays out, but that we could see a potential map 5 to guarantee a pool play.
Should I make the Benson prediction?
What's that?
Game 5, round 11.
There you go.
That's what I'm Game 5, round 11.
As commentators, we always love to see a Game 5, round 11 just because of how exciting and how hype it gets. But realistically, I think this actually does potentially have a Game 5.
We love our job. We want to cast. We want to sit here, and it would just make it a lot more intense as well. But, I mean, if you're an eRa Allegiance fan, you want your team to just close this out as quick as possible. But we still have the uplink, and then we're going to have to go to a map number 4. That is where it can be decided as well. It is going to be a Precinct uplink like Landon did just say. So you said you've seen these two teams play. Who are you favoring here in this matchup?
I mean, to be honest, I'm definitely looking at the side of Allegiance. That's for sure. I mean, based on that first hard point, we ended up seeing them take that one pretty convincingly. We saw Spoofs have a great performance, and I think we ended up seeing Believe nearly go, I think, like 28 and 15 or something along those lines. So definitely be looking for the side of Allegiance to provide quite a bit of that team chemistry, just previously playing with each other in the past back on STDX and whatnot. But to the side of eRa, major players be looking out for Holler and BZ. Be looking at those guys to go off, and based on their performance is how I expect to see eRa do.
Definitely. So we're here to start this one up. Map number 3 in this best of 5 to see who does go into pool play. Drone is immediately going to be in control on the side of eRa. Bound is going to be the player with that in hand. There's going to be one player to try to contest over here by Gas. The beatdown trying to come in, but that player is still staying alive. Jumping through the Cherry Blossom, but now he's going to throw that drone down. It's going to bounce off the map and be reset there as well. But look at eRa. They've just been lining up the kill feed to start off this one, making sure that none of the players from Allegiance have been in any sort of position to try to get a stop going. So let's see here, they're favoring this gas rotation. It's something that I've really liked over the course of Infinite Warfare, right? Usually teams never push that gas side and try to run it up street. They always try to take it and tick it. But as the game has progressed, all you see teams now is just start to wrap through in that middle street, try to at least get a 1-point toss off.
Yeah, that middle street, of course, in that corner near statues, we're going to see quite a bit of the gunfights do go down at the side of Allegiance. Definitely going to be trying to push out this current angle where Bound is sitting at. We'll see how, obviously, things do progress. Pretty aggressive gameplay toward the start of this first minute of our first half of some uplink. Drone currently going to be sitting in Believe's hands. Quickly tosses that one out, and Bound is ready to actually pick that one up potentially right around the corner. But no, he'll end up dropping. Nice 2 combination there from both Nova and Believe. Kind of a duo ship. These guys have been playing with each other for quite a bit of time on past rosters, been kind of sticking together, and you can obviously see they've seen quite a bit of success here with this ALG lineup. But 3 start to come through for the side of eRa, making their way through statue. Bound's got it through the back. This could be a potential first scoring opportunity for this game.
Yeah, and you see he's trying to get the little juke out there with how, like, the little, what do I call it? When it tells you where the drone is, that little reset of where it shows the positioning, he tries to wrap through to that middle part to try to throw a curveball at the other team to make them go that way. So it's kind of like a little juke play there. Obviously, it didn't work out. It was a nice defensive hold coming from the side of ALG, and you can thank Believe for picking up that 2-piece. But if you do see players maybe try to make that play running one way and then going back the other, it's all just to try to juke out the enemy team. You see sometimes they actually go through with it and it throws off the other team, or they do something like you just saw eRa do right there, but still scoreless here as we did just pass the 3-minute mark in this game. They see no team has been in any real position to try to get a score off here, but now it's going to be eRa on the attack, and Holler has the drone.
And not normally going to see Holler with the objective quite a bit unless he's obviously switched up his role on this eRa lineup. Quickly passes that one over toward BZ. Can he get the 1-point toss off? I believe that one was just short, was receiving some team fire, so not the easiest shot to get off, but the first opportunity that a player has really had from the side of eRa, and it's not going to be able to make much of it. ALG now on the offensive end, trying to make a defensive play turn into an offensive one. Spoof making some progress forward with that eRa, and BZ trying to delay that process from going down. He'll make that one happen. Nice job there from Spoof to continue to at least delay that process, that defensive hold that side of eRa had for the time. But like we said, 2-minute warning of this first half, and No points have been on the board. Both these teams playing defense very, very well up to this point, Dirk.
And the last respawn, that hard point, we saw Bound and Stamino playing very well, but now it's Bound sort of slacking back a little bit. I mean, it's still early in the game, so you can't take anything from him, but Beezy and Holler have been stepping up, and that's one of the things that you have to look for as this game does progress. You guys need those two players to go off consistently. Now, Stamino has that drone in his hand as well, trying to go for that 1-point toss. The follow cam is in, and he's going to be able to get that one, so it's going to be eRa getting the first points on the board, but Believe is going to be able to get a nice clean sweep of his base, picking up the big 3-piece. That completely opens things up, but they need to worry about this player playing over by Statue. That is going to be Beezy.
A nice shot there coming in from Stamino. I mean, that's not the easiest shot to hit by any means, and he makes it look pretty easy. So nice job there to at least get 1 point on the board. Consistent shots there coming in from Beezy toward Statue toward mid. Player just going to be on his corner. That is going to be Believe, who shuts him down. So with that, Beezy ends up dropping, and now Bound is left to try and readjust his positioning. Might not be a bad idea, just trying to toss that drone down and try to make some progress elsewhere with his teammate support. Nice kill through middle. That's actually going to delay Allegiance quite a bit. Now, Pinch could actually come into play here, but now Spoof is going to hold strong as we play kind of back and forth in some cases, kind of playing tag at some cases, but still, the side of eRa and side of Allegiance playing so consistently. And there's only been 1 point on the board. I mean, this is a map where once you start to get scoring opportunities going, I mean, we could see a 10-plus scoring matchup, and they've been holding pretty consistent. But here comes the toss from Mayhem to try and even things up over the buildings, and he'll be able to make that one go through as well. These are some difficult tosses these guys are hitting, but regardless, we're now level at 1 apiece.
And with the 1-point plays coming in, it just shows how good the defense has been from both sides and how equally they're slaying out each other, right? Stamino going to try to go for that 1-point toss over the building, but he's not going to be able to connect. Now Bound is going to try to come in to get that drone and rally it through. He's going to toss it up for the 1, and it is going to drop. Looked like it might have just been a little short, but with the final 13 seconds here left in the game, it looks like eRa should have the 1-point lead going into the second half. But like we said, nobody's been in any sort of position to try to get a 2. I think the closest that we've seen was actually from Spoof there, but now the pass is going to come in. He's going to go for the 1-point toss there, and is it going to drop? No, that one is going to fall short.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate misplay there from ALG at the end. Tries to get that pass, but it ends up hitting that wall, so after that player rounding the corner there. So kind of a misplay there from the side of ALG, but Neely is able to get the scoring opportunity off. Regardless, it will be eRa with a 1-point advantage after the first 5 minutes. Of course, we're going to reset sides, reset spawns, and reset portals. As we'll see how the next 5 minutes does play out. We talked about eRa currently with that 1-point lead, and Holler and Beezy doing some big things right now. We've also seen Bound do quite a bit of damage as well. While he isn't leading in kills for his team, he's definitely been clearing out the drone and doing a lot for his squad. That doesn't always pop up on the scoreboard, but speaking of scoreboard, ALG might be adding on to that one. Mayhem coming from the skies, tries to toss that 1 point in, and nice passive play there. Of course, realizes he can maybe get the dunk, but wants to guarantee the scoring opportunity. That's exactly what happens. ALG and eRa now level at 2.
We're on board with Believe right now, getting behind the enemy lines, but the drone is going to be pulled. Stamino is going to have that in hand. It's going to be 2 players left to try to contest. The 1-point toss is going up, and it is going to drop with a nice bank shot off the top of the buildings to make that 3-2. Just a neck-and-neck game so far. Nobody been in any such position to try to get the 2-point plays off. We've been saying it the entire game, but you have to give credit to both teams. Look at the slaying department. Everything's just basically equal. You have 3 players who aren't absolutely going off, but you have the 1 player falling behind. That's going to be Mayhem on Allegiance, but he's not even slaying that bad. But now 4 down are going to be for eRa. Now Spoof and crew are trying to get through, and we're going to see our first dunk of the game. And just like that, it gives Allegiance the 1-point lead.
A nice job there from ALG. Good communication as well to get that drone tossed forward through that middle street. And of course, it does work out for them. I know I've talked about it constantly throughout this match, but in respawns and even really in uplink as well, it's a kind of a combination of both hardpoint and search and destroy as far as the slaying and the communication that you do need. And due to the fact of a lot of these players previously teaming together, the entire Allegiance team being under the name of STDX in the past, you've got to imagine they have quite a bit of communication. But eRa trying to disrupt that communication right now as they're going to fire in a 2-point play. Nice pass there from Beezy over toward Bound. I'm actually curious to see as the match does go on and how the progression of those payloads are going. Your active camo, your overdrive player is going to be very, very influential. They need to make sure to keep up this line, because if not, not actually having those payloads would play huge into who is going to win in this map number 3.
You're seeing Bound. He's getting closer, about a quarter of a way towards the active camo. Beezy is going to have that overdrive ready to go. So maybe look for the side of eRa to get that drone into his hands and pop that overdrive to try to at least just get a 1-point play off. I mean, such a neck-and-neck game like this, you just kind of want to settle for ones less than 2 is open. But now Bound is going to go in for the dunk. This is surely going to put him so close to the active camo, gets him the plus 200, making more progress towards that. So expect him to get maybe like 3 or 4 more kills before the active camo finally comes in. But now Beezy has that drone in hand. He tosses it out to Statue, gets a nice read of the player that's pushing through construction, and the nice shots are going to be coming in there from Mayhem. But now the fight's going to be going down here at Statue. 3-point game separating these 2 teams.
A lot of major 1v1s going down at the moment. As you said, we do load in some of our payloads throughout the match. Spoof, big player to be watching out for the side of Allegiance. So they want to bring this one back. Can almost be guaranteed a 2-point play if the active camo is used correctly. I believe on the other side, on the same side, Overdrive in his hand. Does he eventually try to use this one once he has some teammate support? Once they can maybe round this quarter, maybe if they can at least find 2 or 3 kills. Let's see the Overdrive be pop, spotting one to the corner. That's going to be Holler. Actually rocks the Overdrive now. He wants to run past all these players and nearly is able to get the 1-point toss off, but no, it's not going to be there. The Overdrive, in some cases, gets wasted from the side of ALG, and now eRa have an opportunity to make a play on that misplay.
That was a desperation play, 100%. He popped the Overdrive, went straight through Tarp, had no teammate support that were behind him at Statue, but the players from Statue aren't going to be able to look on the other side of Tarp, so a wasted Overdrive there for Allegiance. I mean, I don't get why. They still have a minute 25 to go, but now it's going to be eRa in complete control here. The drone is going to be in the hands of Steamo before he does drop, but now BZ is going to rock that Overdrive. Should be able to get around the corner in time, but no, the nice shots come in there from Mayhem, and he shuts him down once more. But now the defensive hold comes in from the side of Allegiance. They have 1 minute and 10 seconds left to try to make something happen. It's going to be Mayhem. He has that FTL jump. We've seen the nifty plays that have been able to come out with that, but he's going to toss that one over to Nova.
And Bound really should have found that kill in some cases. He ends up turning around thinking he already killed a player, and now that's going to leave the side of Allegiance with a potential scoring opportunity in their mid. Spoof coming from behind. Can he shut down these players? Kills Holler, but it's not going to be there. BZ needing to make a play. He's going to pass that one off to his teammate Stamino. What payload do you have, my friend? You have FTL jump. Let's give that one over to Bound. He has the active camo. But they've got to get the drone forward. They're still in their base right now. They've got to get forward. They need to have the slaying get done, but Mayhem finds Stamino. Spoof finds BZ. And now Bound is left all in his spawn by himself, and Nova is here. The active camo gets rocked just to try and stay alive. And somehow Bound is still up at this time. He has to get the drone down. Bound, you have to get a scoring opportunity forward, my friend. Nobody is going to be there for the pass, and eRa due to staying in their base, that could have just sealed the game.
Yeah, and there's still 14 seconds to work with. Spoof does have the active camo, but by the time this play does finally go in, it's probably going to be too little, too late. The jump is going to come in. You see the body block try to come, but 5 seconds left. This one is all but over. In a nail biter, it's going to be eRa coming out on top just by 1 point.
Wow. That is absolutely incredible plays there at the end from Bound, just being able to stay alive and just trying to stay with that drone. I was calling out that he needs to try to move the drone forward, but just because he can't get that close to his portal whenever he has enemies coming at him in that particular rate. So still, massive plays are coming in at the end from eRa. They're able to narrowly hold on, but we talk about major players, both BZ and Holler doing well for their squad in that respawn, and I think definitely doing a lot to kind of guarantee and solidify that victory.
I think it would have been a complete game changer, too, with the Overdrive from the side of Allegiance, that just kind of like premature Overdrive going straight through the Tarp area. Realistically, what are you going to get off there? If you know a player's probably going to be around there holding that choke point as well. Not a smart Overdrive player, and as we know, that can be a complete game changer. But also the active camo play there at the very end by Bound, not using it offensively but defensively, that was so nice. He popped at the perfect time and somehow stayed alive as well. But you're going to see how we got to this point right here. Starting at the very beginning, it's going to be breakout hardpoint. That was 250 to 165 in favor of Allegiance, and throwback search and destroy, which was going to be 6-2 in favor of eRa. And then map number 3, the one you guys just saw, went in favor of eRa, and the final score was 7-6, an all-around close game. But now we are heading over to Scorch.
Now, Scorch is going to be a hard one to predict, I feel like. Like I said, I was favoring ALG when it came down to the uplink. Of course, kind of comes down to the end. We obviously see the first hard point, how that one kind of went. How does this next hard point go? The last respawn was close. The earlier hard point wasn't. This Scorch hard point plays a little bit different. You're going to see quite a bit of eRads, very fast play. Those rotations over toward Turbine are going to be very, very important, as well as over toward Hangar, so be looking at those to kind of play big. And we didn't see Holler have the greatest performance when it came down to Breakout. An MV4 on Breakout, there isn't usually a problem that you're going to have with that. An MV4 in Scorch, not going to be the best weapon to have. So if he doesn't transfer over that K-Bar well, this could definitely be an opportunity where we see LG force in map 5.
Yeah, I definitely think, like you just brought up, the MV4 on this map, if Holler is going to get himself into those weird positions like he did on Breakout, it's not going to go very good for them. So that's going to be something that we have to look out for. How's it going to go? Are they going to decide to pull out the K-bars? You maybe even pull out an eRad as well. I mean, we've seen the versatility of players in Infinite Warfare who have been able to go from that MV4 to the K-bar to the eRad. They just pull out wherever they really need to. And on Scorch, I definitely think it's a map that's very, very eRad heavy.
Oh, absolutely.
MV4s really have no place unless you're Octane. I think he's like one of the only players that we've seen use it. Even
that's fair to say,
on that
for
map.
sure, yeah.
He uses that K-bar on that as well. So maybe look for the switch from Holler to come in. I definitely think the MV4 needs to be gone just for this one. bring out a K-Bar or the eRa like we've just been talking about as well. But I feel like if Holler and BZ, we saw they were getting hurt so bad in that first hardpoint because they weren't playing well. If they get off to a good start here and just continue that momentum, I have no reason why they shouldn't be able to win this one.
So you're going with eRa?
Yep.
Go with eRa?
Yeah, but this is only.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, man.
If they make those changes like we just brought up, and there's no MV4 play, I take eRa 100%.
See, I'm kind of favoring Allegiance. I don't know why. Like, I'm not just trying to be different. I don't know. I just feel like Allegiance, the way that they looked in that first hard point, they kind of outclassed the side of eRa. And not that I don't have confidence in Holler, because I've been watching Holler for a very long time, over the last few years, even since Advanced Warfare, with a number of different rosters and whatnot, even toward Vanquish, to the end of Advanced Warfare as well. So I said, I have a lot of confidence in him. It's just, I don't know, like something about this team or something about this series just isn't, he hasn't really convinced me yet that he can kind of go off when it comes down to a map like Scorch. It plays different. It's very fast-paced. And I've seen, I think, just about every single player on the side of Allegiance rock an eRa and do pretty well with it. So I gotta say, I think I'm going with ALG for this one.
It's like my heart wants Game 5, but my mind sits there and says eRa just needs to close it out here. But anything can happen. Like we said, these are two teams that we haven't really seen them play on these maps before. The only glimpse of what we saw from Hardpoint was going to be on Breakout. And Breakout and Scorch play 100% completely different.
Oh, yeah,
Scorch is one of those closer, tight, contested maps where you're going to have a lot of those close range games where Breakout, you're going to have a little bit more range to go as well. You guys are getting a little map fly overview. You're going to see Turbine there. Yep. That's going to be one of the hills that's going to be very hard to break if you get those early rotations. And you're going to see Skybridge, a position you do not want to rush by any means, because if you have somebody inside of that hangar hardpoint right there, they're going to be able to hold that one down. But this is win, and if eRa takes this one, they will move on to go into pool play. It'll be Allegiance dropping down to the loser's bracket. The first initial hill time going to be going to the side of Allegiance.
Now, can we actually switch aboard with Holler really quick? I'm actually curious to see what kind of weapon he has rocking. So he is going to have the MV4 out for at least right now. Not a bad opportunity at least to have it when it comes into middle map, but we just need to make sure, if you are an eRa fan, or if we're just kind of analyzing throughout the entire map, based on Holler's performance with that MV4, can definitely play major dividend to how this result does end itself out with. So Allegiance, like you said, on the back foot, definitely are trying to force a Game 5 in eRa, trying to close it out here. No more Game 5 search and destroys is what they want to have when it comes down to a map, or to a match, a series of this regard. But of course, rotation on everyone's mind as the last few seconds of bridge start to tick down over toward Turbine. Who currently has the control of that? It is going to be eRa, and BZ doesn't really want to force this one out too much. Need to make sure they are watching their right side over toward Medbay. And if they do that, it should be a pretty easy rotation back, and it looks like it is going to be the side of eRa. While they are down, they are going to have control over Turbine.
Yeah, BZ started rotating to this hill, I think, at around 35 seconds as well. It just shows the importance of this one, but now they're giving up that whole bottom side. One player is actually watching from that chest-high cover. That's going to be Stamino. He has the eRa in hand, just crouching up and down to try to get himself to bait out the opponent. But you're going to see players number 3 and 2. That's going to be Believe and Spoof pushing up at the top factory. They get right by BZ, who's playing inside of a corner. Now this is where everything can fall apart for the side of eRa. Let's see if they're going to be able to get the break. Believe gets the first kill. Spoof is now inside of the hill, just trying to stay alive. But the nice two-man push comes in from the side of eRa, and they keep control of this hill here. An excellent defensive hold. But now Mayhem has something to say about the setup. He takes out one, but immediately going to be traded out. But eRa doing an excellent job of holding this hill. And you already see Bound at the top side of the map already rotating.
Yeah, you see the side of ALG kind of having some issues when it comes down to trying to break that hill overall and kind of rushing one versus one. And actually, this is a great play from Bound right now. Kind of, like I said, hanging in the back, not trying to make his presence known too much. Nice trigger discipline coming in from him. And if he can stay in this power position, he actually grant his team the spawns. Unfortunately, he'll end up dropping, kind of revealing his position. But due to doing that, he's actually going to leave the front wide open. And BZ is going to walk through the door and immediately shut down one. That's going to be on Spoof. Believe in the boys from ALG trying to hold on to this hard point right now instead of Hangar, and it looks like they are going to do that for the time. But Bound making some very smart plays throughout this map. While it doesn't really grant his team a whole lot of time, it at least is a nice distraction process that nearly could have worked out.
And Hangar is going to be another one of these hills, sort of like Turbine. It's going to be very, very hard to break, and it's been basically just Allegiance from the start of this hill as well. But now you're going to see BZ sneak in. The pinch is going to come in from the side of eRa as well, and they take control for the time being. But Believe is going to get the big opening two-piece, puts himself at a 3-kill streak, but Stamino is going to be able to shut that one down. But still in control of the hill is Allegiance. Look for the rotation start to come over towards Drill now as we approach 15 seconds left in this Hangar hill.
It looks like ALG still wants to fight for this time. Kills starting to go down. It looks like it is going to be the side of eRa who do walk away with the last few of those seconds. But Stamino and it looks like Bound making their way here over toward that side Drill. Stamino currently sitting inside of computers, just waiting for that push to come out, playing pretty passively, waiting for their teammates to come out. Holler, the last one off of that rotation. Nade coming out to try and delay as Allegiance getting some free seconds at the moment, having a whole lot of time to breathe and kind of a little bit of an idea as Mayhem finds two. Semino is at least able to find one, but quickly drops, so the three-man push will drop from the side of eRa, and Allegiance will continue to have a lot of free seconds. Question being, are they able to watch their flank? They know where the side of eRa is coming from, and it looks like they do.
Yeah, it's going to be Bound and Stamino getting those first initial kills to try to get this pinch going forward. It's going to be BZ joined by him. Going to be one player left over towards observation, but an excellent break coming in there. Well, strategic break as well from the side of eRa. Score sitting at 91-86. Very close contested game, but you saw it was Allegiance. They got off that slow start. They had the lead in the first hill, but they completely lost it when it came around to Turbine. But they've done an excellent job of holding Hangar and Drill, and if they continue to do this, there's no reason why they shouldn't take this game. But we still have a lot of game time left. We're about to go back to the Bridge Hill to start our fresh rotation of hardpoints, and it is going to be Allegiance with the lead.
Yeah, 104-91 after our first set of rotations. We'll see how things kind of start to iron themselves out. I believe pulling toward the back, just trying to clear out the base for the side of ALG, but clearly residing inside of the hill is going to be Stamino and Bound for the side of eRa. Watching both their angles and actually have a nice cross range kind of being watched, cross angles being held, but Mayhem finds two yet again. Great eRa play with him up to this point, clearly sitting at 12-11 on a 3 spree at the time. Has earned a scarab and also has the FTL jump, and Mayhem doing a fantastic job though with that eRa so far throughout this entire map, and definitely see him make some future plays that can grant ALG a lot of more time.
Yeah, and something about Mayhem, too. It seems like he's been catching eRa off guard with how aggressive he's been playing. He's been getting right up into the enemy face, so sort of like a scump class, if you will, getting right up in the enemy face with that eRa in hand, and that's why he's having so much success. Currently sitting at 12-12, did have the Scarab ready to go. He actually popped that, but has the FTL jump as well. So great plays for what we're seeing from Mayhem thus far. But there's always been a sort of like a trend in Hardpoint. Now Allegiance Spoof is the player that's slacking in the slaying department. And then you look on the side of eRa, they're actually leading in the slaying department, but it has nothing to show for it. They just have not been able to break the setups that Allegiance has been throwing at them. You see Mayhem getting himself on another 3 kill streak. Definitely a player we're going to have to watch throughout the entirety of this match.
Absolutely. Holler's starting to line it up a little bit here. Really sitting at 15-11. We talked about him being a major influence when it comes down to the side of eRa, and if they can try to take this map, would you talk about the level of importance when it comes down to this match? Winner of this series is granted a spot inside of pool play. Currently sitting at winners round 5. Allegiance trying to at least force that map number 5 eRa, trying to close it out here. Nice eRad play along with the FTL jump combination there from Stamino. Unfortunately for him, he'll quickly drop, but it was a nice play, nice idea in the end, but it will be Mayhem who wins a big 1v1 gunfight and guarantees his team at least the last 11 seconds.
And now we've seen Holler switch over towards that K-bar as well, so like we said, that's something that you want to see from the side of eRa. The MV4 not going to have much of an impact here on Scorch, but now the pinch is ready to come in. It's going to be Spoof and crew trying to work their way from the back. He is joined by Believe. The cluster grenade is going to come in, it's going to get him an assist, and Believe picks up the 2-piece before dropping. Bound is going to be the last player left alive for eRa to make any sort of contest here in the Hangar Hill, and just like that, they are going to clean it up. Now Allegiance is going to take full control.
And eRa needs to try and get everyone together, trying to group up and make this push happen, but it looks like those aren't starting to fall. Inside of ALG, doing a great job of kind of setting up camp and delaying every process possible. Players start to come in. It's such a difficult angle to try and come in with those narrow corridors. As Nova finds 2 quickly, and 3 go down for for the side of eRa. Holler the last up, and it looks like he's not going to make much progression either. Decides to go back out of the hard point. He'll find one through middle. It looks like he's going to try and contest for these last few seconds. It looks like it's not going to work out for him. So in some cases, a nice idea from the side of eRa, but kind of 1v1 on gun engagements. And once you don't really have control over Hangar, it's so difficult to get inside because there's only so many angles, and there's such narrow angles as well. If you have a K-bar or even an eRat up range, it's very difficult to try to get players off of those head glitches.
And you're going to see the scare play coming now to lead the charge. You have 2 players from the side of Allegiance to try to push in. Now it's 4 players down for the side of eRa, and just like that, they take control of Drill. The setup is there. They have 2 players pushed out by middle map, and then 1 over by security as well. Things are looking good for Allegiance to try to pull away with this one. They're going to be able to pick up 1 kill. They find another on Holler as well. Bound gets taken out in the middle of the map. BZ, the last player to try to contest to get a pinch in here, but I'm wondering if he was spotted there by Believe, because if he can just play patient here, they should be able to take over this one. Now the pinch is coming into play, spots the player flying high up in the sky, and just like that, eRa takes control.
They do. We'll see what eRa can try and produce. This is some much needed seconds that have to go in their way. If anything, just a contest would do, but ALG now starting to try and make their way forward, but BZ picks up 2, Believe the last person alive in the back, and it looks like eRa will be able to shut him down right after that as well. Some big momentum plays coming in from the side of eRa, holding down Drill nearly perfect. As we're going to reset back toward middle, eRa have got to play better if they want to try and try to close this margin really. Beasy currently sitting inside a hangar, tries to find that one on Mayhem, not going to go his way. Mayhem continuing to go on sprees. When it comes down to that eRa and that K-Bar combination, firing some extra shots to make sure that his team has some easy control, as Legions are only about 30 seconds away from at least forcing that game number 5.
And the biggest issue right now, eRa has no counter towards Mayhem. They're letting the guy get away with anything that he wants. We've seen him go on multiple 3-6 as well as 2 streaks, and that's huge because those 2 streaks are coming just from 2 pieces coming straight into the hill on those entries as well, but they have not had an answer from him. Stamino's the lone eRad player for the side of eRa, but he has not been able to compete to what Mayhem has been doing. But Holler, you're seeing pick up a nice 3-piece there to push the enemy line back, but somebody needs to get inside of the hill for the side of eRa to pick up the scrap time. 10 seconds away is Allegiance from taking this one. It needs to be a picture-perfect hardpoint played for eRa throughout the entirety of this match.
This is going to be very difficult for the side of eRa to try and hold on to Turbine, but if you want a hill to do one on, this is the one to do it. We'll see if actually the side of ALG can start to rush their way forward. They find 2 of those picks. Bound now trying to rock the active camo, just trying to stay alive and delay as long as possible, waiting for his teammates' support. He'll end up dropping, and on the side of Allegiance, only 4 seconds left away from closing this one out, and eRa is not going to be there. We are heading to a game number 5.
This is where things start to get very, very interesting. All of this leading up for that pull play spot. That is what the winner will be taking. You see Spoof there in the final kill cam taking out Beezy. It just seems like they can't get a whole lot going. Beezy slacked in the slaying department. Slacked in the slaying department in that game there. Holler actually picked it up. We saw him brought up the MV4, got off to a very slow start, immediately switched to that K-Bar. But the big reason Allegiance was able to take that one was all because of Mayhem and his eRad play.
Yeah, man, Mayhem was constantly getting 2 and 3 pieces in the kill feed. It seemed like it was constantly being a nuisance, for the opposition side of eRa. So really couldn't shut him down for the most part. I believe he ends up rocking around 23, 24 kills throughout that hard point. So major credit to him, kind of grinding his team a lot of free seconds.
Yeah, they just really had no answer for him. Like we brought up in the broadcast as well. The amount of times we saw him on a 3-kill streak or just those entry kills when players were starting to push inside of the hill, the most kills that he got that I saw from that was going to be your drill, getting him set up in that front window area as well as on that turbine hill. So guys, when we come back, it is going to be a game 5 to decide who goes into pool play between eRa and Allegiance. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
I want to know what's going. Fuck off.
I'm just.
it all comes down to this. Game 5. It is going to be around 11 between eRa and Allegiance for a pole play spot. I am Dirk. I'm joined alongside the ever so lovely Lando Sanders, and we're going to be bringing you guys the action here for the last map. This one's going to be great. It's Crusher Search and Destroy 2, one of the better Search and Destroy maps that we're going to see. And wow, it's just been a neck-and-neck series all around. It looked like eRa was going to start to pull away a little bit there, but they were able to get the turnaround on Allegiance in that last hard point, all thanks to Mayhem and his ever so stellar eRa play. But now it's going to come down to Search and Destroy. And you can look how the first Search and Destroy went, was a complete blowout in favor of eRa.
Yeah, we're going to take a look through the maps really quick just to update you guys in case you did miss it. Breakout hardpoint ended up going Allegiance's way in a pretty dominant fashion. They won that one 250-1 at 65. Throwback Search and Destroy ended up going eRa's way 6-2. Later, that precinct uplink, which came down to a final play. eRa ended up winning that one at 7-6. And of course, our last map, which we just witnessed, another Allegiance victory when it comes in a hardpoint. They won that one at 250-197. So we do talk about the previous Search and Destroy. Pretty dominant victory for the side of eRa. When it comes into Crusher Search and Destroy, of course, plays a lot different. This is personally one of my favorite Search and Destroy maps just because of the level of difference between the two bomb sites. A, going to play a lot faster. B, it's a lot easier for defensive teams, but you're obviously going to see a lot more patient play. So if there was ever a match, I think, or even a map to kind of grant us a Game 5, especially when it comes into how important this one is, I got to say, I'm pretty glad it's Crusher.
I mean, the thing is, Crusher is one of those maps, like you said, it favors more of that slow pace going to that B site. Now, if you're a slow pace team and you try to play A, you're going to lose that every single time.
I also think as well that it does a great job, like that map overall. It does a great job because basically every weapon is great in that particular map because you have eRads that can be great when it comes into A side, especially over inside of U. You have MV4s, you have K-bars that can hold different angles throughout the entire map as well. Plus, you can also have some sniper rifles that obviously hold toward that mid-map. And I think we ended up seeing Clayster a few times rock the sniper rifle inside of A on this map as well, which is very surprising that you see someone kind of rush over toward A. You usually see them kind of stay over toward B or even toward middle. But I mean, if you know the angles to watch, he ended up making it work pretty well. So I'm just pretty excited because I feel like every weapon, every single thing that you want to be into a game or even into a map is going to be in this one.
Yeah, definitely. And like we said, just the big highlight from that hardpoint was Mayhem's slaying power with that eRad. So that's something we need to look out for. You know, the guy probably has a boatload of confidence now. He was able to get them the win there in that one. Obviously, it was a team performance, but he was the player that we highlighted majority because he was getting so many great defensive stops. But now going into this Search and Destroy, we know the eRads heavily favor inside of the A site. You gotta try to walk in there with even a K-bar at times, an MV4, it's not going to go well for you. You're going to see lots of 4 hits there, but there's so much variety on what teams do on defense. They just decide a 4-man push straight through A and try to wrap around to B. I'd say B is the more common bomb site on this one. A is just sort of like, we're going to throw a curveball at you, send everybody in there guns blazing with the eRads, but B is definitely the one where it takes a little bit more strategy, setting up those MV4 in the crates and maybe sending an eRad on that wall run as well. And we know that jammer grenades are going to be a big thing to try to get that spot check behind that back rock area as well. It's definitely going to be interesting. Like I said, in my prediction, I said I'm going to throw a Benson one out there, Game 5, Round 11. I think this could have the potential for that, but if it goes exactly like that first Search and Destroy went, it's going to be over quick.
So who you going with? I got to know your prediction. You said Game 5, Round 11. I don't know what your prediction is right now, but I got to know who you going with. Who you got for Game 5, Dirk?
Let's go with Allegiance.
Allegiance?
Allegiance is going to go to around 11, but it's going to be Allegiance taking this one. I feel like that just from that, they won the first hard point very convincingly. They lost the next 2, but they bounced back in this one. So now they have the momentum, in a sense, in their favor going into that as well. So I'm taking Allegiance in this one, the round 11.
I'm going with you, too. I'm going to say Allegiance. I'm not going to say it all the way around to round 11. I'm going to say 6-3. I think Allegiance closes one out 6-3. I think it'll be a pretty close game, obviously, due to the fact of 3 rounds being gifted toward the side of eRa. But I don't know. I just feel like ALG has been looking a lot more consistent. I've also seen this team in past actually do some interesting S&D strategies when it comes down to this. And when it comes down to a map like Crusher, what we've been seeing from a lot of competitive teams as well when it comes down to this map playing on offense is that sometimes you'll see kind of a 1-3 bait over toward an opposite bomb site, so you'll see kind of one player kind of A check really quick, maybe even fire some shots, throw some nades in there to make the other team bait and make them think they're going over toward A, when in reality the other 3 players are actually making their way over toward B. So I fully expect to see that at least from Allegiance because I've seen them do it in the past, actually under STDX at the time, and we've also seen quite a bit of teams do it when it comes down to this map as well. But it is time to load in here toward map number 5, Crusher Search and Destroy as well. We will find our resting place for this series. eRa, Allegiance, who walks away, who gets their spot in pool play? That is the question. A lot of pressure on both of these squads. The open bracket has not been easy, to say the least. Dirk, who are we going to be looking through the eyes of in this round number 1?
I feel like Nova's going to be a key player for the side of Allegiance, so I'm going to stay on board with him. He's going to be rocking that MV4 as we know and love. It's always going to be in the hands of Nova there. He's going to go ahead, go to the middle of the map, try to get that spot check to see if he can find anybody. If you look at the defensive strategy coming in from the side of eRa, 3 positioned over by A and 1 in that back rock. The player back there is going to be BZ. He's going to go ahead and back up, but does have the MV4. But now being in this garage, he puts himself at a disadvantage if anybody does push.
And he does hear these nades, so obviously calling that one out to his teammates as well to kind of make their rotation over. They obviously realize the bomb site check, and Spoof has already got the bomb down, actually jumping over one player. That's going to be Stamino. He will drop. Bounders there to respond and believe, currently holding a back angle. 2 versus 3 in favor of the side of eRa, but only 4 at time. Shots coming from above, and now Believe left all by himself. 1 versus 2. Shots being exchanged over the boxes, but can he stay alive? Nearly finds the one on bound, but the shots will not be there. Round number 1 being tossed over in eRa's way, as you're going to see Bound getting the final defuse there.
Players just deciding who needs to take that defuse, and why not give it to Bound. He's 3-0. Now it's going to put him just an assist away from getting that scarab already here in round number 2 is what we're going to be heading into. You're going to see in the final kill cam, it looked like he could have almost got that 1 versus 2 if he just had a little bit extra in his clip, but I feel like even if he was to take out that player, the trade would have immediately came in there as well. So first round on the board from the side of eRa. Bound is going to be the bomb carrier now. Like I said, just look for him to maybe just get a cluster grenade thrown and have his teammates come out for that support as well. You see him just kind of fire some shots over there on the cross. I believe he did spot Nova, so now they're going to go ahead and get the wraparound. This is a very, very smart play coming in from eRa.
And they're firing some shots that might make the players on Allegiance think, oh, wow, he actually spotted me. Like, they might have actually saw me kind of rush through that angle. So that kind of makes them think of a push is not going to happen. But little do they know that Mayhem is actually all by himself for the time being. He gets shut down pretty quick. Nice shots there coming in from Holler. Canadian battle will be given over toward Holler, the more veteran player. It looks like they might actually make the rotation back. So rush inside of A, decide to back up, and you see player number 4 and player number 2, both Nova and Spoof, realizing that site change might have just come into play. And once they check over toward A, player number 8 is going to play very big. Stamino having to watch the flank because it's getting ready to come in. Stamino getting into a gunfight, able to find that one over on Spoof. More players starting to come his way. Believe in Nova. Combination of the two need to make something happen, but now it's left all up to Nova. 1 versus 3, but it's not going to be home. And just like we saw in that map number 2 search and destroy, eRa off to a hot start, 2 rounds.
I definitely see Holler here in your final kill cam, and it was just a great patient play coming in from the side of eRa there as well. We saw them get the cross. Nova just randomly just started shooting. And then once they got that call out, they went around to A to try to do anything there. They picked up that first pick, and then they're like, we still have time. Let's go ahead and wrap all the way around to B as well. So it worked out for the side of eRa. Now they're on defense, and on the offensive side is going to be Allegiance. You're going to see a 4-man hit here from the side of Allegiance. Spoof is going to be the bomb carrier once more. Has a trophy as well as the cluster grenade. And same setup coming in from the side of eRa. BZ going to go ahead and back up into this garage, but now the 3-man hit on the flank is coming in.
We'll see what side of ALG wins to do. Do they try to rush out toward B, or do they try to back up? Looks like they might even try to rush forward toward this site. Potentially getting that bomb down right now. Everyone currently looking around. Shots being exchanged. Holler yet again finding the first blood. That time Believe ends up dropping. Now immediate 2 versus 4. Bomb is not down. More shots start to be exchanged as Holler, resigning over toward that bomb, decides to go and try to engage up, and he'll find 1. Give me 2, says Holler. And that's now going to be the side of eRa up 3 rounds to 0. Allegiance not having a whole lot to respond with. And this is the guy we talked about who needs to go off in this series. That's exactly what he's doing. He's answering the call as he'll find 2.
And this is one of the maps that's going to favor those MV4s heavy, and that's why Holler is shining so bright right now. Currently sitting at 6-1. Our predictions looking absolutely garbage. I'm just going to throw that out there as well. 3-0 lead to the side of eRa. Let's see if they can keep this train rolling. It's all led by Holler here. He is your captain. 6-1 for him. Has the scarab ready to go, and 100 off of a Trinity rocket as well.
It's definitely the main priority that side of ALG needs to shut down. They have to win this round, or it's definitely not looking good for you. Player starting to back up. Believe ends up dropping yet again for the first blood. They'll find 2. They're just running right at the Mayhem. Left all by himself. Granted, you've done some great things in this map so far, but can he do it again? No. He'll find at least 2 in that near 1 versus 3, but there's just too many players coming at him at once. And eRa completely overwhelming the side of Team Allegiance right now. And Holler yet again being involved in that final kill cam as he'll shut down Mayhem. As eRa are now going to be up 4 rounds to 0. ALG yet to respond in this map number 5.
Those were huge entry kills there by BZ and the team. You heard the play call come in. Hey, let's hit 3 wall run. BZ got a huge 3-piece to open that one completely wide. And now Holler has that Trinity Rocket as well. Things are looking so good for eRa here in the Search and Destroy. But you're going to see the 3-man hit coming in towards this A site. The first blood is now going to finally go in favor of Allegiance. It's going to be Nova taking out Stamino. And I see the rotation of those red arrows come in. Holler's going to be the first to engage, throws the cluster out, just 50 off of that bombardment. That would be absolutely huge if they could get that as well. But that Scarab is also coming into play, and it's on the hunt for the players.
Yeah, maybe if they can combine that Scarab with a nice assist, that can actually work out for them. Beezy ends up finding one thanks to Bao, but nearly a very close-up kill there found. But unfortunately, Nova's able to find that one. In some cases, Nova continuing to try and go on a little bit of a spree, but that one quickly ends. 2 versus 2. Allegiance, you cannot afford to give this round away. Time is starting to dwindle. The likelihood of them winning this map 5 and progressing on a pool play is looking even less and less likely as time does go on. They are on offense. The question is, which side do they pick to choose to rotate to, and how does eRa Vendor respond once that bomb does go down, if it can even go down?
Now, if you're on the side of eRa, you want Holler to stay alive. You need to have Bound push in first and then try to play for those trades. Just try to get those streaks. And now you see them. They get the spot check on the player. The player peeks in once more. But that bomb is down. Time is going against Holler. Gets the kill. So now he has reactive. He has the bombardment fully streaked out. He could burn this reactive here to win this 1 versus 1 and go up 5-0. He goes ahead, pops it. He jumps down. He's trying to hunt down the player. Is he going to win the gunfight? And he does. Now it is going to be eRa up 5-0. Allegiance is going to have to win 6 rounds in a row if they want to take this one.
Great play there from Holler, and also great trigger discipline coming out of him and his teammate in that 2 versus 2 situation. Granted, his teammate ends up dropping, but great overall play to let them know, or to actually have them not even know where you're coming from. And Holler, right place at the right time, earns the reactive armor. That is the perfect position to do it in, to solidify that round and to make Allegiance feel even more and more farther back. As like you said, Dirk, they're going to have to be absolutely perfect if they want to move on the pool play. We've seen 5-0 comebacks happen, but they are not by any means likely. We'll see how this next round does line out. ALG wants to run right at them. We'll see how eRa can potentially respond. Man disadvantage early on, but it looks like ALG now trying to fire back. 2 versus 2 now. Spoof and Believe, potentially the last players alive. And now Stamino left in a 1 versus 2, a position to clutch. As ALG finally put on some aggression, but it's almost too little too late at this point, Dirk.
It was just at the point where they probably looked at the scoreboard. They saw, hey, Holler is 9-2. He's got to be fully streaked out. They know that he had the reactive, and that kind of gives them that hint. They decide to get super aggressive, push straight up the middle of the map to try to get that aggression on to the point where he can't call in those streaks. Because I think it takes around 10 seconds before you can finally call that in as well. And then Stamino is going to drop. That's going to be 1 round on the board there for Allegiance, but they have a huge mountain to climb here.
They definitely do. So 5-1. Some much needed round, a round that you can't obviously give away if you are the side of Team Allegiance. Good overall play. Like I said, constant aggression, 2 versus 1. They kind of put themselves toward the backside of the spawn and are able to make that one happen. Like we said, this is going to be a difficult mountain to climb, and one that most likely is not even going to be climbable.
And you have to think on the side of eRa, you know that Allegiance has to push in here. They're very aware that they had the streaks. They really have no option. They can't go to B. The wraparound is going to be coming around here. Let's see what's going to happen. Spoof just playing in the back. The streaks are coming at any moment, but Nova is going to draw first blood.
I believe Bound ends up using his payload at the beginning of this round as well. So active camo burns. That's no longer going to be on the side of eRa. So if you do lose this round, that is a huge overall play for the side of ALG to have that one burned for the opposition.
It's even greater, too, because Holler was taken out for that first blood, so that completely eliminates the player with the streaks and that utility. If they can keep trying to get Holler in those first bloods, which I know is hard to do, you don't know exactly where he's going to be, but that's now 2 rounds in a row where Holler has dropped, and he's the player who needs to stay alive. But now gunfights are going to be going down. It's going to be Bound trying to get inside. Now Stamino is going to be left last alive, and he will be taken out. Add another round on the board for the side of Allegiance.
ALG are starting to show some signs of life, and honestly, it's very impressive. They're doing exactly what they need to, finding the right players at the right time. Like we said, shutting down Holler, making sure in some cases that active camo does get wasted. So I don't know if they know 100% that active camo was used in that particular play, but at least one of the major things that could solidify a guaranteed round for the side of eRa is no longer going to be in play right now. I'm curious to see what Holler does in this particular spot, to see what he does with these streaks. Of course, he has just about everything to roll with, so you think that this would be maybe a round to use it, or maybe in their next defensive round to try and use it if it comes down to that particular instance. But still, ALG with an all to do. This is not going to be easy, to say the least. But here come the streaks. We'll see how this does come into play. How does ALG react? And thankfully, they are going to be inside in some cases, so they are going to hear that ping coming. Bombardment coming through. We'll see how this does affect the side of ALG. Going to be inside, so that doesn't affect them too much, and they're immediately going to come on the rush. They want to try and get all up in their face, but Stamino finds 2 big kills. Holler on the outside, and 3 do fall, so just like that, Mayhem with an all to do a 1 versus 4. You've got to stay alive. If he doesn't, this is going to guarantee eRa a victory.
40 seconds to work with here. Mayhem does get taken out, and just like that, it is going to be eRa booking their ticket to pool play. eRa, guys, I am so sorry. Our prediction was way off there. It was another big search and destroy blowout for the side of eRa. It's all thanks to that man there, BZ at the end, but Holler had those streaks. He pinged it. The thing that I did like about Allegiant's play, though, was that they knew the streaks were coming. They backed up into garage, but that's where the streaks can be so great for your team, right? When you have those, it forces the enemy, you know they're going to be in a building somewhere. And if you get the ping, you know they're all going to be back there in that garage. That completely opens up that bomb site. The first 2-piece came in. Ever since then, it was just all downhill for the side of Allegiance.
Yeah, I mean, they start off, losing 5 rounds in a row. It's never easy to do that, but they started to make, nice comebacks here and there. So major credit to, obviously, the side of ALG for starting to make a little bit here and there. Unfortunately, the map number 5 scoreboard is incorrect. It's actually 6-2, but either way, you can obviously see how things did line up. ALG taking map number 1, eRa winning the next 2. ALG finding both of the hard points, but in the end, it was the S&Ds that rang true. S&D wins championships, and they also guarantee you spots in pool play, Dirk.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you see eRa there. They took those S&Ds very convincingly. Both of them going to be 6-2. So if we're on the side of Allegiance, I don't know if eRa is maybe just a godlike S&D team, and Allegiance just isn't that great. That's one of the things that we kind of have to go look for as we go forward as well. But eRa's S&D play looked very, very stellar, very dominant as well.
Yeah, and this is honestly, it was a great series to watch. It was a very close match. Like we said, we talked about the side of the side of eRa. They narrowly are able to close this one out, but they do it by a 1-point advantage in uplink and a dominant victories in the search and destroy. So that just goes to show, man. I think we all talk about in Call of Duty how slaying reigns true a major majority of the time, and while it did in the uplink, you don't have to be a good hardpoint team to win some series. So
yeah,
I think the side of eRa definitely kind of proved that.
Yeah, you definitely don't. Like you said, they did just prove it. The search and destroy play with Stella from eRa. So as we head into pool play, we have to see how well they're going to match up against those professional teams when it does come down into the search and destroy. But guys, that is going to do it all for us for now here on the Bravo stream. We're going to be back at 1 p.m. We're going to have Splice going against, we don't really know yet. We're still waiting to get those results. Yeah. Splice is going to be playing somebody at 1, so make sure you guys tune back here at Bravo around that time, but we'll see you then. Not saying
Knuckled.